Okay, welcome everyone. Second section Wednesday. So we're going to do our warm-ups today, but we're just going to kind of do an abbreviated version. And then next week, if you can, show up maybe 5-10 minutes early and we'll do the warm-ups then, okay? So we always start with our head and we're going to switch it up today. We're just going to go from left to right. So looking over your shoulder, just like we would for single whip, just warming up the neck. If you feel like it, you can drop the head down for a moment, but I just want to get that side to side, like you're lifting string pulling you from above. Okay, let's just move right into our shoulders here. So really draw them up, back, and around. We have a tendency to let them fall forward, so we're just going to work on opening them back today. A couple of rounds. And as you're here, make sure you have a natural stance. Your knees aren't locked. You're nice, even breathing. And then we'll let them drop back and down. And we're going to move on to our elbows here. So as we do this, we want to keep our upper arm in the same position, and we really just want to rotate our elbows. So you'll see that my arm is not moving very much. So our hands point down at the center, palms point back, we rotate, and then we can go the other direction as well. So again, using our elbows, this is going to come in handy when we do our brush knees, our wave hands like clouds. These are all this movement, okay? One more time. And then we'll just let them hang down, okay? So maybe shake the arms out a little bit. So we're gonna move on to our waist, okay? So we spend a lot of time talking about this, and there's actually a lot of great workshops happening through the International Association right now that are concentrating on our waist. So our waist is not what we think it is here. The waist talks about our lower back, okay? So we have a tendency to stand like this, or maybe we tuck too far. We wanna find the in-between, but we wanna separate and use our waist. So you can place your hands on your ribs, or you can place your hands on your hips if you want to feel that your hips aren't moving. So find a shoulder width stance, find natural hips or ribs. We're going to move our upper body from side to side so our hips remain stable, and we're moving from our waist, warming up our waist. Okay? Now maybe we come back to center and maybe we just rotate from side to side. So we've done this before. We can do this with our hug a tree arms if you'd like, or keep your hands on your ribs. Whatever allows you to feel that your hips are stable. So I'm not turning my hips. It's just from the waist, the upper body. Okay, good. Let's relax off of that. Now, the other way that we can move our waist is by moving it forward and back. So it's not shoulders, right? It's just the waist, moving from the rib cage, the waist. So play around with this a little bit, and then we're kind of going to bring it together, okay? So this might be easier if you come into a bow stance. It doesn't matter what leg's forward. But what we're going to do is we're going to have our nice open quad here, okay? Our hips are open, and we're going to move forward and back. So we're going to move towards our front leg and towards our back leg, but our hips are not going to change, okay? So to the front and to the back. See how my hips are remaining the same? So do a couple of rounds on this side, and then we're going to switch our legs. So coming into a bow stance on the other side and feeling that same movement, okay? So I'm not moving my hips as I do this, right? It's just my upper body. We're warming up our waist, okay? Maybe one more round, and then we're gonna come back to center, and we're gonna do a little bit of a looser variation. So letting the arms kind of swing, we're gonna just move that upper body. And again, we're not moving our hips and closing our legs. We're not doing this. It's just upper body. And then we're going to slowly ease off, coming back to center. and move into the hips. So always finding that nice shoulder width, maybe a little bit wider if that feels comfortable. And we're just gonna swing the hips around. So that's circling feeling that we're doing. Whatever speed feels good for you. Nice big circles. And then we'll go the other direction. And then we'll return. Okay, so we always want to do our knees and ankles as well, right? So let's bring our feet together. You don't have to squat down very far, just a little bend in the knees here. And we're gonna circle. So nice circles here. And then we'll go the other direction. One more. We'll stand back up and we'll come to those ankles. So finding our balance on one leg, picking up the foot, rotating the ankle. You can also do this having the foot on the ground and kind of circling the knee and ankle if that helps you with stability. And then we're going to switch to the other side. So find our balance, pick up if you'd like, circling, or on the ground, one direction and then the other. And then relax, shake it all out. So just take a couple shakes here. Kind of a quicker warm up, just shake everything out of the body. Okay. All right, do we feel a little bit warmed up now? Okay, let's go through what we've been working on just as a little bit more of a warm up and to kind of jog your memory if you have any questions here. So we're gonna start at cross hands and we'll go all the way through to diagonal flying, okay? Right arm over left, feet are shoulder width. Take a look down, make sure that they're straight. Shifting your weight, embrace the tiger, return to the mountain. Roll back. Press. Push. Fist under elbow, transitioning just like single whip. Arms push out to the side. Step, warding off. Rotating. Empty stance on the heel as we lift and punch. Repulse monkey, number one. One arm forward, one back. Number two, natural step back, rotating on the heel. Number three, step, pushing off, and diagonal flying, circling the arms, stepping out, opening up, splitting energy. Okay. How does everyone feel about those movements so far? How was your practice this week? Nice. Good?
Your instruction with the monkeys really helped me a lot.
Great. Oh, I'm so glad to hear that. These are big things. Our stance is everything, right? So we always want to feel heavy, and when we can work on our stance and feel more rooted, it'll help the rest of our form. So any questions on diagonal flying or comments? How do your knees feel after practicing this week? Anyone doing the modified version? Do we feel okay about that one? It's like talking to an empty room. I get no thumbs up, nothing. What's going on, guys?
Yeah, my knees have an issue, so I've been modifying it my own way. So
that's fine.
Yeah.
Good.
I am able to do the regular position, but and I'm learning how to open the quad.
Good.
But I'm finding I'm still kind of short of getting the right angle on my right foot. It's not really angled enough. And I often do feel it turn, my knee turn. But I'm trying to,
I would say in regards to getting it to the corner, if you're a little less than corner, that's fine. You know, like if that helps you with your stability and that helps with your quad and your knees, by all means, go a little less. Just adjust your back foot accordingly, right? Because if we're corner and straight, maybe we go a little bit off.
yeah, mine look kind of parallel.
That's okay. You're practicing. That's so great. All right. Yes.
Cheryl, question about the angle of the body.
Mm-hmm.
You know, even when we're going back to repulse the monkey, are we a little bit tilted forward as well? And how do we find that space? We just have to play with it, or does it depend? Part of it maybe on the way I'm meeting the ground with my back foot or my front foot and not going beyond that point, or I don't know. I'm wondering about that angle, and you know, because here we're in much more of an angle, right?
Yes.
But
so this is a great question, John. We've actually been talking a lot about this in workshops and teachers meetings. This is talking about the body setting angle. That's what John's asking about. So how much lean do you know is enough lean in a stance, right? Is that what you're asking, John?
yeah.
Okay, so for a bow stance, this is an easy answer, right? Because the angle should follow our leg. So we don't want to be leaning. Okay, there's one exception to this rule, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But typically, if we are in a bow stance with our shoulders to the straight direction, our body angle is going to follow our back leg. So if my stance is shorter, my body angle is going to be not as much lean, okay? The exceptions to this rule are single whip and left forward off when our body angle is straight, and when we're punching down. We'll see this later on, but we lean more so that we're at knee level. So everyone go into a bow stance here for a moment so you can play around with this. So make sure that you start in a really good bow stance. So turn one foot to corner, make sure you're nice shoulder width stance, okay? Before we get started. Now, when you're in a stance of any sort throughout this form, you should feel the weight on your bubbling well. So the bubbling well is kind of the pocket behind the ball of the foot. So if you take your hand from your heel and you push forward right before you meet the ball of your foot, there's a little pocket there. And we talk about this suction cupping to the ground. So as we're in a bow stance, you should feel that both of those points have the weight in them. Now, if you lean too far forward here, what happens? Does the weight change in your back foot?
Yes, it lifts up and it goes beyond the bubbling well.
So then that's how we know it's too much. So we come back. Now, if we have not enough, lean back, sit totally up with your hips to the corner, shoulders square. What happens with the front foot?
There's less weight on it.
Exactly. So this is where still practice really comes into play. Now, we do a lot of moving practice, but when we're here, we're going to work on brush knee today. So if you have your left foot forward, your left palm will be by your knee and your right arm will extend opposite if your right leg's forward, okay? Now, when you're doing these movements, you should feel balanced. So we're holding a posture here, and this is where we play with the lean, okay? So if we lean more, we feel the disconnect in the back. If we're not leaning enough, we'll feel like we can lift our toes. Ideally, we want to feel like we can't lift either for just a moment. Now, Tai Chi is all about agility, right? So we should always be able to move back and pick up, but when we're in a stance, we want to feel rooted. So I'm bringing you to a bow stance first because that's our most basic stance, right? So let's go into an empty stance, okay? Let's do repulse monkey. So find a nice empty stance. Repulse monkey is a little bit different because our foot's a little bit flatter to the ground than in a typical empty stance on the heel. Now do the same thing here, okay? Lean forward more. What happens? What do you feel?
The back foot lifts a little bit, less weight.
Less weight, right? So same thing if we lean back as well, then there's less in the front. So our body angle or our body setting, which the setting is the angle of it. Whenever we're doing a stance, we want to make sure that we're leaning towards our front foot, okay? So we don't want to lean. Let me see, this would probably be the best. When we lean, we're leaning towards our front foot. We don't want to lean. Can you see that? Okay, so that changes, or we don't want to lean to the side. We're always leaning towards our opponent, right? Even though we practice for health benefits, it's still a martial art. So we're leaning towards our opponent here. So how do we know it's enough? Okay, this, I would say I feel the weight on my heel of my left foot. This, I feel like I'm even. Not even 50-50, but I'm pushing off the front and the weight is in the bubbling well of my left foot. This, my waist then becomes not relaxed. I want to relax my waist. So you have to find the balance. And how do we find the balance? Still practice. And this is where I wish we had longer classes. And I know it can get kind of maybe boring to hold postures and kind of go through these different aspects of like, where do you feel the weight in your feet? Is your quad rounded? Are your hips relaxed? Is your waist relaxed? You know, is your chest sinking in? I used to do this in every class. We'd hold all the postures for like a minute. And yes, your legs start to shake and your arms start to hurt, but it changes your perspective. So John, I would say try to do some still practice at home. You know, I'm trying to include some more of it, but play around with it. You know, lean forward and feel the change. Lean back and feel the change. Lean side, right?
Yeah.
All of these things affect our stance. Does that help?
Yes, that helps a lot. Thank you. And
Okay, good.
Lots of times I feel that I have an anterior tilt of my pelvis that prevents me from, I don't know, opening my quad and hurting my knee a little bit.
Yes,
when I'm going too far.
Because you can go too far. There's a difference. So most people have a tendency to stand like this, right? We'll stand here, legs are locked out. We have all this pressure here. Then we learn to relax. And I'm guilty of this too. And then we tuck too far. Okay, we really tuck it under. But what does that do? It causes the hips to tilt upwards. Right. It causes the pelvis to tilt up, okay? So we're trying to find that neutral position. And what I've done personally is putting my hands on my hips and literally feeling, moving slowly and feeling the different of too far. Okay, that's still a little too far. Oh, there it is, you know, and just kind of playing with that hip position and actually trying to feel what your joints are doing. And it takes time to feel internally, you know?
So thank you. That was great.
You're welcome. Good. I'm glad it helped.
One of the things that I noticed, I used to bend my front leg whenever I did an empty stance. And that was how I was trying to like bend forward, was bending the leg too.
Yeah.
So it was hard for me to understand about folding from the hip without curving the hip and the round of the back. And we were just doing this experiment, you know, with the weight shifting and all that, I realized it is all about the tension that you feel in your back. That tells you whether you're not actually folding from your hip joint versus rounding your
back. Yes. And this is why I encourage still practice. And I am like, we'll stop, and I don't tell anyone to leave the posture because I want you to hold it for a second. You know, it's something that's been lacking from my practice recently. I've just gotten so involved in the forms and the new essential form and now the senior form, and I'm so excited for forms. But what really helps us is holding these positions. You know, it really does. I love Charles sitting there. This is it, right? So when we're doing these things, even if we're in a neutral position, okay, we're shoulders width, we sink down, you know, this is where you can feel like Where's your weight? You can move your weight back and forth. You can tilt your hip and feel what that does to your feet. You know, left and right, forward, back. I encourage you to play with these things. If only while you're standing in line at a store or standing on the phone talking to someone, like just taking 30 seconds and kind of messing around with this stuff, it'll change everything. Okay, let's get moving for just another moment, and let's just do repulse monkey to diagonal flying one time. And then I want everyone to do it by themselves so I can see how we're doing with this difficult movement, okay? So starting at repulse monkey, I'm gonna go the same direction as you. So right foot's forward. Let's take a moment. Find that body setting, okay? You're folding from your front hip. Waist relaxed. Your elbows open to the corner direction. Back's rounded. Head lifting up. Now choose whichever variation. I'm going to do the modified, but if you'd like, do the full version, okay? So move back your weight, circling your arms. Modified, you would step, shift your weight, re-step to straight, step out, and then turning and opening. Now everyone take a moment here. Does your arm line up with your right leg, palm facing up? Your left hand should be in front of your left hip, shoulders down, we're looking over. Is our crotch rounded? Where's the weight in our feet? Okay, relax. Maybe shake it out. Holding stances always can be hard. Okay, one more time, but I'm gonna stand here and watch. Does anyone need someone to follow? Okay. Kelly, do you mind if I spotlight you? Okay, I'm gonna spotlight Kelly in case anyone needs it, okay? Okay, so moving back your weight, circling the arms, step out, and show splitting energy. Very nice. All right, the end postures look really, really, really good. So let's take a moment to go over a few little things here, okay? So I'm gonna face you, so I end up finishing towards you, okay? So we're in repulse monkey. Let's do it this direction. We move back our weight. Both arms come out to the side. We come to center, and as we step, our arms close. So when our arms close, it should feel like white crane spreads its wings. And then immediately the waist starts turning and we open up, okay? When we finish, this should feel like brush knee. So we want it down in front of our hip, kind of relaxed, and nice extended arm here, okay? Our body's open. Okay, let's do it again. So everyone, let's focus on that this time. I'll go the same direction, okay? So repulse monkey, nice position. We're gonna move back our weight, nice big circle with the arms, step, open the foot, and immediately start shifting the weight. Okay, how'd we do? Did anyone's arms feel a little bit different?
Cheryl, my apologies. When I was demonstrating, I got mixed up between the modified and the regular one, and I think my feet were all wrong, so I apologize to everybody.
You're fine. Everyone's stances looked really great. I just want to work on the arms, okay? So let's just do the arms for a moment, okay? I'm going to mirror you. This is going to be interesting. I've never done this, okay? So what happens is the arms come out and then they close. And then the body turns. Nice. And relax this arm. Always relax your lower arm. Okay, let's do it again. That looks really good that time. Okay? So the arms open up. We close. And then passing. splitting energy. Oh, that looks great. Okay, same thing with the footwork, okay?
Can you demonstrate it from the correct angle again? Because I think I saw you start to close your arms facing the direction you began from, and then you turned.
I'll do it. So this is the normal direction. You won't see the arms. So I'll do it facing this direction so you can see the circle. Okay. So we're in repulse monkey. We open up the arms. We step and then turn.
So your arms are closed at the point that you step, but your body is still kind of facing the first direction.
Yeah. So we're corner. I'm to this corner. I step. I'm to this corner. And then I'm to the third corner.
Okay. When are you shifting your weight to the center?
So as soon as I start opening my arms, when I'm in the center, my arms are halfway, my body's to the straight direction, and it keeps turning as I close and step. So now I'm to the other corner, and then the third corner.
So your weight is not centered between your two legs on that angle. When you've stepped up for the angle, you don't like center in the middle and then do the turn. You have
No, weight isn't
on the left side. Okay.
Yes, and there's a little lean because if I'm here, that's when you get out of balance.
And your arms are closed there.
Yep.
Okay.
And then you turn. So there's never a double weight here. We're not sitting in both legs. Our weight is in our left leg when we step and we've closed, and then we're pushing off our heel and shifting our weight.
But your claw has been open and your leg is in position. You're right.
Yes, but it's a split second that you have both feet open to those wide corner directions and all of the weight's in the left leg, and then immediately starts transferring.
Okay, thank you.
Let's do it again. Okay, so from repulse monkey. Okay, good. Big circle with the arms. Step. And transfer the weight and turn. One more time. Let's burn it in. Right back to it. Repulse monkey. Open up, pick up, close step, open, and turn. Okay, how'd we do? Does it feel a little bit better? Okay. All right, so now's the fun part, right? We said rejoice for repeat movement. This is where we get to go to the first section. All right, so we have raise hands and step forward. White crane spreads its wings. And I think what we'll do is we'll probably get to needle at sea bottom next week. We'll do a little preview, okay? So just watch one time, and I'm gonna go the other direction so that you can see it, what the arms do from the open position, okay? So we're in diagonal flying, and we're gonna go to raise hands and step forward. We're gonna pick up, and we're gonna step. We're gonna open our arms up, swivel on our toe, change to our heel, and close and turn our waist, okay? So this is raise hands and step forward. So let's just work on the footwork first. I'll show you again from the normal direction. So we're in diagonal flying. We move our weight forward, step, arms open up. We change to the heel, the arms close, waist turns. Okay? So partially repeat movement, transition is different than it was in the beginning of the form, okay? So let's just do our normal stance. Let's have a nice bow stance to the corner direction. We're gonna shift our weight forward. We're gonna pick up and we're gonna step back. So at this point, our footwork is gonna be a tiny bit crossed because as we shift our weight back, we rotate on our toes. And then we change to our heel and put our 30% into it. Now, does anyone know why we rotate on the toes? Let's see.
Because they're open and they swivel better?
Close. So this is where I'm going to use one of Nancy's phrases. What is Tai Chi? What is Tai Chi based on?
Yin and yang.
Okay, so if we're changing to our heel, in order to follow yin yang principles, we would then start with our toes. There's one time I can think of that we don't, okay? So if we're changing from one stance to another, we're gonna change and rotate on our toes, change to our heel. The exception to this rule is the next movement, where we pick up and we change and step and change our weight forward, okay? But think about the first section. We do brush knee and push, and then we have hamstrung salute. We move back, push off on the toes, and we change to the heel, right? So same thing here. So our footwork is very important here, that when we do this movement, we're in our corner bow stance, we pick up and we step. We're gonna be slightly crossed because when we rotate and relax our toes, that's gonna give us space. If we rotate on our heel, our footwork's gonna remain very crossed, okay? So let's just do the footwork again. So right foot's forward, bow stance to the corner direction. Shift your weight forward, pick up, step behind. Move your weight back, rotate on your toes, change to the heel, turning the waist. Now, how do we do with turning the waist? Everyone hold your heels, your empty stance on the heel for a moment. Turn your waist. Don't turn your legs. Okay, turn your waist. This is what we're going to use in this movement. So we go from open and we close and turn our waist. So turn your waist. How do we feel? Are we using our waist? Did we find the connection point here? Yes, for this movement. Good. This is something we're trying to put through the whole form, okay? So let's try to put the arms into it. So how does everyone feel about this? Does everyone know raise hands pretty well? I was thinking about going the normal direction. Okay, I'm gonna go the normal direction. Okay, so we're in a bow stance to the corner. Make it a good starting position. Move your weight forward. Arms start to open, pick up. Open the arms as you shift back. Change to the heel. Turn the waist, the arms close. Let's do it again. Nice bow stance to the corner. Diagonal flying. Shift your weight forward, pick up. Open up the arms. Right arm's higher than the left, just a little bit. Close, waist turns. Ooh, nice arm positions, everyone. They look really, really, really good. I'm super impressed. How do we feel? How does the weight feel in your stance? Are you using your waist? How do the arms close?
So Cheryl?
Yes.
I had a question on when we're striking. Do we want that strike to be forward, or are we actually turning to the corner so the hand is a little bit past our body? So when I'm seeing it from behind from you, it looks like it's over to my left.
So when we're doing this, we're closing. So my body is to the corner, but my arms are straight and my head's looking straight. So this is another one of those movements. For lack of not having a human being here, we're going to use a pillow. So what happens is you grab your opponent's wrist and you're going to use your forearm and push on their elbow. So it's this movement. It's a more of a circle forward and close, but Nancy said it as slapping and missing, which was really helpful because It's a closing movement. So when we're doing this movement, we want to think about our forearm and our palm. So we never actually show grabbing, but the intention is grabbing. Very nice, Marion. So we're opening and we're closing. So open and close. Good. Yep, open, close. Does that help, Sam? Okay, good. Any other questions? This one's a little bit of a repeat minus the transition.
So I modified my footwork apparently months ago. And I'm sitting on my heel and not on my toe. So I was wondering if we could practice the timing of when you turn the foot before your arms are moving, before or after.
Okay, sure.
I think I've muddied it. Thank
Yeah,
you.
it's funny how once you learn something, it takes just as long as it took to learn it to undo it. Okay, so let's go from diagonal flying again. So nice corner bow stance. We're gonna pick up, we shift our weight, we step back, our arms are open, our weight's in our right leg. Now, as we open our arms more, we rotate on the toes, we move the weight to our left leg. Then we change heel, close the arms. Okay, one more time. So diagonal flying, move your weight forward, pick up, arms open as we push off on the toes, weight moves back. Then we change to the heel, the arms close and turn. Let's see. Oh, very nice position.
So if
Okay.
if your feet are too far apart when you're pivoting on your toe, does that mean you didn't step back deep enough and like directly behind your body enough?
Yeah, so if your stance does not line up, I'm in a corner bow stance, right? If I don't step wide enough or back enough, when I rotate, you see the space? Then I'm gonna have to pick up and close, okay? If I step too much, when I rotate, I'm still gonna be crossed and I'm gonna have to step a little bit wider. So what does this come down to? Still practice. Practicing one movement and focusing on that one movement. You know, we do that during class, but we're also trying to help you learn the form. A lot of you are here for the second time, which is great because we can work on more details. But doing still practice and just doing it on your own at home and repeating one movement again and again will really help that. That looks good, Marion. You got to keep doing it, okay? So the next movement is completely repeat movement. Now, what I want you to feel while we work on this movement is the circle of the arms, okay? So we're in raise hands and step forward. I'm just gonna show you. Oh, sorry guys, that's repulse monkey. Raise hands and step forward. So we circle our arms down. Now this is where that elbow rotation warm up really comes into play. We step and we close. This is what I want you to feel. This should feel just like diagonal flying, okay? And then it's white crane spreads its wings, one up, one down. Okay, so you know all those warm-ups, this, that we do? This is the perfect example of that, okay? So we're in raised hands, both arms circle down. Use your elbow. Close, one up, one down. Your palm should feel the same as diagonal flying too. So it's just sitting next to you. Good, and this arm extends. So we wanna have a nice rounded feeling here. Palms facing out. So not too much bend, not too close. We wanna have it a little bit of way. Okay, there's a couple of meanings with this movement. The simplest one being that we're just deflecting up. So someone's coming to punch you and you just connect and then rotate up. And so what happens is the energy sends that punch over your head. The other example, I will give you a brief description, but without another person to show you, it's actually very difficult. It's actually against a push. So someone's pushing you, okay? Just a standard push. What happens when you push is their arms are inside your circle here, okay? You've taken their arms, you've kind of captured their arms, and then one arm goes up and one goes down. And I know it's hard to understand. And if I find a link on YouTube, I'll make sure it gets sent over because it's a really cool application in terms of like a push, because you circle and then send them away, okay? But just know that this is a warding off up. Okay, that's what we're going for, is ward off up. We want that nice rounded shape here, okay? So let's do it from raise hands and step forward. Okay, so I'll go the normal direction. Make sure you have a nice empty stance to start. Crotch is rounded, knees in line with the toe direction, shoulders down, arms out in front. We're gonna circle our arms down, use your elbow, moving back our weight, close step, shifting our weight, separating our arms, touching with the toes. Okay, how do we feel? That one's true repeat movement. Any questions? Okay, another repeat movement then. So now we go to brush knee. So we were talking about the elbow, right? So what do we need to do with brush knee? The same thing. Okay, so let's do it from white crane spreads its wings. Nice empty stance. Body angle, leaning forward, okay? Leaning towards our opponent. We're gonna rotate our right arm down, left palm comes up. At that certain point, we're gonna use our elbow, rotate, step out, open up, and show striking. Now, same thing here. Where's your weight on your feet? Take a moment, analyze the weight in your feet, play around with your body angle, your shoulders, extending or relaxing, and then relax. How do we feel about these rotations? Are we finding similarities in our form to other movements? Okay.
It is a bit of a challenge to remember that using your elbow movement in brush knee. I've been doing kind of a mixture of like just big circles and elbow movement too. So
so it really comes down to the backwards motion, right? So I'm going to come closer. You don't need to see my legs for this. So we're in white crane. So we rotate and we circle. And then when we get to this point here, this is when we use our elbow. Okay, so watch the difference. If I do this, can you see how my arm closes? Like this joint closes off and then I turn so much, okay? We want from here, we're swinging down, so one up, one down, and we're gonna rotate. Yeah, one more time. So white crane, move a little bit back. Our palm faces us, one down, one up, and then feel the rotation. Good. So it's really this. If you just hold this arm out, it's this swinging feeling. And what movement kind of feels like this that we just worked on recently? I'm giving you a big clue there.
Repulse monkey.
Yes, that's it, John.
But how do you differentiate? It seems to me, I don't know, that my arm is a little more open in right ward off or left ward off than in repulse monkey. Is that because I'm looking more at it, or?
Starting position. So when we start at repulse monkey, our hand is at our hip and we're already down. And then we're rotating from this point and we're coming in, okay? When we're doing this, we're starting high and we're dropping it. So when we swing, we're gonna have more space here.
Okay, all right, thank you.
But that was the exact answer I was looking for. Thank you, John.
Thank you.
Yeah, you guys are doing great.
So we still want a little bit of a swing to reach back.
Absolutely.
More moving our shoulders than a swinging.
But you see how you did that swing and you rotated? So it's not just like swinging, it's swinging, but we want to make sure that we're using our elbow. Can you see how my arm swings, but then it's not like I'm like swinging like this and like really lifting my arm up.
Right.
It's swinging and then rotating, swing and rotate.
So you don't like bring your arms, start coming down and then just like freeze your elbow in place and then try to reach behind you.
Absolutely not. But I want you to get used to the feeling of actually using these joints. Okay, this is going to come in handy throughout the rest of the form.
Okay.
Okay, so let's do it again, just from white crane. Okay, I'll go the normal direction. So right arms up, empty stance, left foot forward. Find our body setting position. Circle down. So one comes down, one comes up. Weights shifting back. Rotate, step, open up. Now stop. Stop when your hand's in front of your shoulder. Now where's your weight? Some of you have your mic on. Where should our weight be? If we're in this position, who has the answer? What was that?
In the middle.
Yes. Okay, so we want to check here that we're in the middle. We haven't exhausted our stance yet, okay? And then we strike. So let's just go to the back position, okay? So we're just in the back position. We've just stepped out. Now open up and stop when your hand's in front of the shoulder. Hold. Oh, that looks good. Relax your shoulders. Yes. Feel different? Now strike. So finish and strike. Okay, did it feel different? Relax. Did it feel different that time when you stopped and then you pushed after you relaxed your shoulders? Did it feel any different? Not really?
There was a little bit less strain in my shoulder, but I because we broke it up, I didn't feel the same amount of power coming into the push.
Okay, let's do it again. And let's focus on shoulders the whole time, okay? So from white crane, shoulders down, shoulders down, shoulders down this whole time. Shoulders down, rotate the arms, swing, rotate on the elbows, shoulders down, step out. Shoulders are staying down, elbows down, everything's relaxed as you strike. Okay. A little bit better? Good. Okay. All right, it's that time. So let's, I'm gonna do a quick preview of what we're gonna be working on because we have some new students with us, which is very exciting, and I want you to know what's coming next, okay? So I'm just gonna show you the next movement for next week, and then we're gonna go through everything we've worked on today, okay? So I'll show you from two directions. I'll show you from the normal direction that we go, and then from the other direction, okay? So when we're doing these movements, this would be our normal direction, okay? So this is needle at C bottom. So we shift our weight forward, fingertips point down. We pull back, come up on the heel. We change to the toes, and then we sink down. Okay, that's it. So that's gonna be our movement. Now let me show you from this side so you can see the arms. So we're in brush knee. We move our weight forward, fingertips point down. We pull back, change to the toes, and we sink down. Okay? So that's what we're going to be working on next week. If we have time, we'll add one more. But with needle at C bottom, I really want everyone to focus on their alignment of their knees, because this is another one like diagonal flying that if we continually practice it wrong and we don't focus on having our knees open and in line with our foot direction, that it could cause problems down the line. Maybe not in a year, but maybe many years down the line, okay? So let's link everything together from today. Does anyone have any other questions before we practice one more time? Okay, let's do it. So let's start at diagonal flying and go all the way through to brush, knee, and push, okay? So I'll go the normal direction. Make sure we have a nice starting stance, okay? We're gonna shift our weight forward, step back, rotate on the toes, change to the heel, raise hands and step forward. White crane, circle down using your elbow, close step, shift the weight, open up the arms, empty stance on the toes. Brush knee and push, rotating the arms, 2 half circles, step, open up, and show striking. Okay. It was great work today, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me. Make sure to do some still practice this week. I want to hear your results, okay? All right, have a great week, everyone. Thanks for joining me.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Cheryl.
Thank you,
Thank
Cheryl.
you.
Thank you,
Cheryl.
Cheryl. Have a
Good.
Bye,
You too,
everybody.
thank you.
See you, Kelly.